Right, we are going to, so what I want you to do today is to think about the connection with your elbows to your knees, all right? Why is this angle really weird? All right, okay, I think that's the best. So when you think about the elbow connection to your knees today, and we're going to do not as much of the turning from the hip today. Right at the beginning, yes, you're going to do a little bit. We're going to do a little bit of that, and then we're going to focus on coming down and playing with our elbows. How our the rotation of our elbows actually change the direction of our hands. So that's what we're going to play with this morning. So before we start, so as always, abdominal breathing, so that when you breathe in, tummy will go out, and when you breathe out, tummy should deflate, okay? And then I know you're standing up, but I would like you to feel that you are sitting down, as if you're sitting on a chair, and with your chest not sticking outward. Turning this down tiny, so you're not standing with basically with your shoulder back, but your shoulder kind of forward. I don't mean this, okay? So that your chest is not sticking out, so that your arm should be resting kind of in front of you. You always have to remember you've got those eggs underneath your arms, so you're not tight like this, but relax, loosen, okay? So in your stance, resting stance, I would like you to just step out and slowly start pulling, so that your weight slowly transfer across to this side. Why can I not? You can't see my feet. All right. Okay, and I'll chop my head off. Okay. Right, okay, I think that's the best I could do. Right, so you were in your stance, still seated. Like I said before, everything is still in place. Your arm should be slightly forward, so that your chest is not sticking out, and you are already sinking in your hip. You're going to now shift weight, but you don't bob up and down, you don't come up, all right? Don't come up. Still stay seated, and now I'm going to ask you to feel that your elbow and your knee is going to move together. So you're shifting your weight to your left, then to your right, but still sitting down. So you don't go up and then down, up and then down. So no, stay seated. Do it nice and slowly. Feel that the turns, okay? You feel turning to your left, and you feel you're turning to your right, but all the time you're shifting your weight from one side to the other side. And let go. Still, your arms should be in front. You're shifting weight all the time. Nice and slow. Just breathe normally. Okay, right, okay. So you're still going to, still seated. Oh, I'm falling backward because my arm's not out there. So when I sit, this is your open form, yeah? So when I sit, I'm not just sitting downward, I'm also trying to sit back, okay? And that's why I need my arm to counterbalance, because I'm going back. And now I would like you to start, remember, turning from your hip. And then you start turning from that side. To bring your arm back around. I sink some more. I drop my elbow. Elbow, knees going back together. So let's do that again. So I still have to do kind of like open form, but just with one arm. I drop my elbow like I would in my open form. don't need to lift my arm. I'm turning with my hip. Then I start pulling with the other foot to bring my weight back into this leg. Sink. I drop my elbow. Elbow, knee can go back together. So let's do that twice through. Breathe in. Sinking my elbow to my knee. Focusing on turning at least from my hip. Then swap side. Sinking again. Elbow, knees go back together. Breathing in, still like an open form. Dropping my elbow. And now, turn from the hip. Pull from that foot. Continue to turn. Sitting back again. Sinking my elbow. But all the time, I have my eggs underneath my arm. One on each side. Breathe in. Turning from my hip, so my arms don't need to move. It's being turned from my hip. Better still, from your foot and out. One more time. Sink. Turning and turning again. And breathe out. Okay, so now I'd like you to still do the open form. So when you do your open form, you drop your elbows. Then I'd like you to, as if you're turning your elbows together. So you're turning your elbows towards each other. But I don't want you to then tighten your shoulders. Okay? Alright, so I'm going to do from the start. Open form. Sinking my elbows. Like a rotation of my elbows. Right, okay. Now I want you to focus on turning your elbow. Then your hands kind of, your palm faces upwards. Then if you turn your elbow again, your hands face downwards. So what's going on is, what you're doing is, you're turning the bone, the bone that's attached to your elbow. And I want you to drop your shoulders. When you drop your shoulders, your elbows sink at the same time. So we're going to do that all together. Alright, let's try again. So open form, I'm sinking. I'm also sitting back. My arms extending forward at the same time and going wide. I drop my elbows. I kind of squeeze my elbows together. Turning back again. So do not focus on turning your wrists, okay? Focus on turning the bone that's in your forearm. Now, drop your shoulders. That's me dropping my shoulders. My elbows fallen as well at the same time. Now my elbows and knee can both go back together. I know I'll come into a fist, so I'm going to do the fist one. So I'm still doing open form. I still feel that my little finger is turning up. Then I'm going to drop my elbows. Still sitting back, as if I'm squeezing my elbows together. Now I want you to again focus on not turning your hands, the bone attached to your elbow. Your palm faces up. And now turning the elbow, the bone in your forearms. Turn back again, still sitting back. And now I want you to loose fist, drop your shoulders. When you drop your shoulders, your elbows goes down. And then you continue. So I'm going to do this continuously now. In, sinking back and down. I let my elbow sink to my knee. I'll continue to turn the bone inside my arm. Turning back, breathe out. Do not turn your hands. Don't focus on the hands. I want you to focus on the elbows. Turning. And that's what makes your hand turns. Elbows, knee. Going back together. Just one more time. Same movement. Still playing with your elbows. I'm sitting right back. I'm squeezing my knees at the same time, and I'm squeezing my elbows. Continue to turn my elbow. I'm going to turn it back, but my elbow doesn't go, yeah? Because that's actually my shoulder, you can see that. And I'm going to turn the other way. Again, I don't want you to focus on your hand. I drop my shoulder, elbow, knees, go back together. Still the same movement, still your open form. Still going to sink your elbows. But this time, I want you to, as you come closer together, I want you to drop your elbows without bringing your arms back, okay? So you're still sitting back, you drop your elbows, you've got a diamond shape. Again, I want you to play with your elbows. Again, you're doing exactly the same thing to make your hands turn away from each other. So this is me bringing my hands together, so I'm forming a diamond shape. But if you notice, there's no movement because there's only the bone inside is doing it. I'm not holding it, I'm dropping. So diamond shape. Now I actually want you to use your shoulder to rotate your arm, but I don't want you to then stick your chest out. Still come. Now I'm sinking my shoulders physically. Then I round, I don't know whether you can see, I round my arm, connecting, using my back muscle to return. All right, so right, let's do this again. So there's a little bit more going on there. Open form. I'm dropping my elbows. And now I'm going to just squeeze my elbows closer together. Now I'm going to start rotating my elbow to make a diamond. I rotate my elbow outwards to separate, so I've got no more, I haven't got a diamond anymore. Again, just using the bone that's in your forearms to make your hand move. So I'm not moving my wrist, okay, because that's external. I'm actually moving the bone that's in my forearm. Bring them back together. Right, now I want you to use your shoulders. So feel your shoulders is working, rotating your arm. Again, you're not with your chest stick out, so you're still in front. I drop my shoulder. Then I kind of round off. Why do I do that? I'm connecting my arms to my back. All right, let's try again. I'm sitting right back. I'm dropping my elbows, sinking my elbows, making my elbows dead heavy, as if they're sitting in my knees. Okay, so your knee's not there, it's out there in front where your elbows are. I'm going to bring them just a little bit closer by squeezing my elbows together. Then I could play with that bone again on the inside. So I move them away. I bring them back together. But there's no movement in my elbow. It doesn't move. Okay? It's all going on just inside that bone attaching to your elbow, to your wrist, basically. And that's why it can move your hands in and out. Now I want you to do the external movement, rotating your shoulders with your shoulders. Then I want you to just physically drop your shoulders, drop them. And now I change. I'm connecting my arms to my back. That's why I always call it the incredible hook, because that's how it looks and that's how I feel sometimes as well. You know, when you change, yeah? Yeah? Okay. I want you to do that again. Sinking, sitting right back. My arm's not very high. Then that is where I drop my elbows. I squeeze my elbows to bring my hands a little bit closer. Then I'm going to ask you to start playing with those elbows again. Just a couple of times. So again, there's no movement. It doesn't mean that you're not in your stance. You're still sitting back, still sitting down. But no movement from your shoulders or your elbows. And now I want you to use your shoulders to do this external movement for a little bit. Because from there to there, I want you to physically drop your shoulder. So it's a difference between dropping the arm, then dropping your shoulder. So I'm actually dropping my shoulder, then I turn. Now I know my arms are connecting to my back on the return. One more time. Sitting, sinking, going right back. Your back against the back wall, as if they're touching the back wall. I've dropped my elbows, so my shoulders is obsolete for the moment. I'm turning, I'm playing with the elbow bone again, the bone that's attached to my elbow, to my wrist, just making my hands come in and out without using my wrist, moving my wrist, or anything else, but on the inside, I am turning my elbow, okay? And now, let's do that again. So this is all external. You know it's all external because you have to physically move your arm. This is me just dropping my shoulder and then turning to connect my arms to my back. Alright, now you should have a dish. When you come in, incredible hook, you should have a dish. So my arms is not against my body, it's actually there. Okay, it's a bit further forward. Alright, so from this position, I'm still sinking, I'm still sitting in my chair. I want you to start going down so your spine doesn't curve. Your lower spine doesn't curve, your upper spine doesn't curve, your neck doesn't curve. You just literally lower your body towards the ground by bending in your hip flexors. When you're right down here, I just need you to stretch your arms forward, trying to connect them to your back. Drop your tailbone to the opposite direction at the same time. First thing I want you to think about now is drop your shoulder. Because when you drop your shoulder, your elbows drop. When your elbows drop, your hand rises. And if you allow your elbow to come forward a little bit, your palm should be facing downwards. And I want you to slowly, as if you're pushing a pump down towards the ground. When you get to your dantian, your lower abdomen, I'm going to feel them turning rather than just bending. I want you to feel them turning. And that's why your hands start to turn. Let go of your arms. You can make, I'm going to ask you to make your arms longer. How are you going to do that? When you're all the way down towards the floor, I want you to reach. Make your arms, continue to make your arms feel longer while you drop your tailbone in the opposite direction. When you're up here, I want you to first thing, drop your shoulders. When you drop your shoulders, your elbows come down a little. And we continue to sink your elbows to your knees. So you're still sitting. Your hands come up to your mouth part, not right up. Okay, and my arms are still out here, or I fall over because I needed to have the counterbalance. Then slowly push the pump down. Again, all the way down to your lower dantian. As you go down your hip, feel the turn. Yeah? Feel the turn. And that's why your hands are turning. Do not hold your arms, let them go. Duck egg still in between your armpit. Slowly lower, thank you. All the way down. You should feel lots of energy in your hands. Like each fingers has gone a lot fatter, a lot longer. Now, reach. Make your arms feel longer. Keep attaching them to your back rather than to your shoulders. When you're up here, drop your shoulders. Continue as if your elbows are so heavy. Sinking them to your knee. Don't hold it. Sink them to your knee. And now, slowly, like a lift. One more time. Again, when your hands get to your lower abdomen, feel the turn in your hip. You're not just bending them. That's why your hands want to turn with your hip at the same time. Slowly, again, have a think. How are you going to make your arms feel longer? Definitely not holding them in your shoulders. And then I want you to still make your arms feel longer as you drop your tailbone to the opposite direction. Sink your shoulders. I want you to sink more of your elbow. And naturally when you do that, your hands come up. And slowly, as if you're pushing something down. Alright, okay. I'm going to ask you to stay here. I'm just making my note, the thing that I have. Right, yeah. I just want to know that I've done everything that I have planned. Right, so you know, I'm going to turn this way again. So if I'm just standing up, my hands is quite close to my leg. So I'm just going back in my stance. So when I sit, I also sit back. And that's why my arms comes out. Okay? So in this position, in your dish position, I call it the dish position, as if you're holding a dish in your hands. I want you to sit far back. When you use your arm to counterbalance you, or you're going to fall backwards, okay? Because I want you to sit back. So like the rubber band effect I talk about, your incredible Hulk, because you've got those eggs underneath. Bring your hands slightly closer together, but without this. Because what's happened to my shoulders? They not relax, they lift it. So I want you to not lift your shoulders, to still round your back, and then your elbows is still heavy on your knees. I just want you to, so you're still going down, I'm still going down. And then, but I don't want everything to go down. I want you to feel your lower back is pushed against your back wall. At the same time, I want you to feel there is something sitting on top of your head, on your crown. It could be a piece of cloth, it could be something very light, or a marshmallow. I've got marshmallow on my head. I like very light, something very, very light. But it's there, so if you're going to do this or that, it's going to slide off your head. Okay, so you're going to sit here. So now I want you to feel, my stance a bit wide, I want you to feel that you want your knee to be lined up with your big toe, so they're not like this, okay? And your chest, as if I'm going to punch you. So if I punch you, whoa, okay, it goes in, okay? And you're going to sit here and you're going to breathe. You're sitting on a chair still. It looks like I'm sitting on my sofa, you know. And you just breathe. Although your hands not touching each other, they feel like they might be touching each other. They just feel a lot thicker, as if you've got gloves on them, all right? So each of your fingers have gone thicker. You should feel lots of funny sensation in your palm and your fingers, as if your fingers are just going to touch, going further and further down to the opposite side of your foot. So your left fingers going to your right foot, and your right fingers are going to your left foot. Keep sitting. Feel that lower back is working. Maybe even your upper back. Just a few more moments here. And breathe. Don't think about your legs, let them go. Keep letting them go, keep letting your shoulder go, keep making your elbows heavy. Alright. Bring everything back in. And in your mind, put these funny tingling sensation, which is your chi, in your mind, below your navel, in your lower abdomen, in your dantian. All right. Okay. Thank you there. Right. So that's what I did plan to do. I don't know how you found those. It was just really focusing on. Oh, hello, Keith Middleton. I think you are new. I don't think I have met you. Good that you have joined us. Excellent. I hope you have enjoyed it. So what we worked on today, we did a little bit. I didn't want you to forget the turning from the hip. That was right at the beginning of the session. And then we've honed in on a lot on the upper bit of our body, just physics. So if you hold in your shoulders, that's what it looks like. But you can physically drop your shoulders. Okay, so there's a difference if I hold in my shoulder and I drop my arm. Can you see my shoulders still up? Now I drop my shoulders, and that's what I've been trying to. If I take my hair away, that's what I've been trying to get you to do. Forget about that. So it's the idea that you physically drop those shoulders, and when you drop your shoulders, your elbows sink into your knees as well. So it's important that your knees is facing forward, and then they are lined up to your big toe, and that's how your elbows can then sit on your knees. The other thing that is probably I haven't done that ever yet is the ability to use. So if I show you with my sleeves turned up, so the bone in here just turns. Okay, so if I turn my hands, I can. This is me rotating my wrist, and if I feel if I rotated my wrist, okay, this bit turns as well. So now what I'm trying to get you to do, not to focus on your hand, but to focus on your elbow. So if I just turn in there, your hands just go from up facing up, facing top. So it's the bone on the inside that's doing it. And that's why when we were doing this with your arms out, elbows down, I asked you to just rotate very, very subtly on the inside. That bone that I'm just trying to show you. It will just make your hands turn without, because that's not that bone anymore. That's your shoulders, which we all want to do. But you don't. You drop your shoulders, you sink your elbows, and you turn from the inside. Okay? And it's very, very subtle movement. But then now your shoulders are disengaged. Okay? And you're just using that bit of, and a lot of it in your open form is the same. It's the same. It's a rotation. It's a little bit more than that, but at least that's what's going on. It's a rotation of your elbows. Okay, right, that's all I've got time for you today. So thank you for coming online. And yes, these videos do get loaded up. I'm sure it'll get loaded up on Active Newcastle site as well as on my YouTube channel.